What do you get when you cross a digital wallet company, a video game publisher, and an e-commerce marketplace? The answer? A company called Sea Limited, ticker symbol SE. And what's awesome about this company is how it combines all three of those businesses to be much more than the sum of their parts. So in this episode, I want to highlight the awesome things that Sea does today, some unique initiatives they're cooking up for the future, and the insane growth that they showed during their most recent earnings call. This channel is all about using data to find great investments, so let's start there, specifically with ARK Invest's daily trading data around Sea. Sea is currently ARK Invest's 22nd biggest position overall, with well over $500 million in it across their funds. It's the 20th biggest position in ARKW, their fund themed around the next generation of internet applications, with well over $97 million in it. Sea is the 4th biggest position in ARKF, ARK Invest's Fintech fund, with $178 million in it. And Sea is the 25th biggest position in ARKK, ARK Invest's flagship innovation fund, with over $290 million in it. I'm calling out each fund individually here because I think Sea is in each fund for pretty different reasons, which I'll get into in a minute. Another thing worth calling out is that Cathie has sold about 24% of ARK Invest's shares in Sea in the last month alone. My guess is that Cathie is selling because of Tencent, the Chinese media conglomerate, which owns 25% of this company, and they have a strong working relationship on all fronts. Full disclosure, I don't currently have a position in Sea Limited outside of my positions in ARKW and ARKF, but I may open one in the near future based on this research. So here's another instance where I don't agree with ARK Invest. Sea is actually headquartered in Singapore, but also operates in Thailand, the Philippines, Taiwan, and several other countries in the region. It's actually a holding company, and SEA is an acronym for Southeast Asia. They have 3 big business units today: Garena, their gaming brand, Shopee, their e-commerce arm, and SeaMoney, their digital payment solutions. Let's start with Garena, since it's their oldest and still their biggest division today. Also, I'm a huge nerd who loves video games, so there's that. Garena started back in 2009 and is an online game publishing and social gaming platform. Garena publishes some of the biggest AAA titles for the Southeast Asia region, including League of Legends, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, FIFA, and Call of Duty Mobile. Garena lets you keep a friends list, form guilds with them, and see what achievements they've been earning in games. Garena also has a virtual currency called Garena Shells, which allow users to purchase games on the Garena platform or buy in-game items, premium modifications, and upgrades. So it's a very high-margin, cross-game digital currency. A few years ago, Garena obtained the right to publish all Tencent games in Indonesia, Taiwan, Thailand, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore. Tencent, by the way, is the biggest gaming company in the world. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, or PUBG, came out in 2017 and is still one of the top downloaded games on Earth. Garena is much more than just a publisher, though. They also published and developed a game called Free Fire in 2017, which is also still one of the top downloaded games in the world. In Q1 of this year, it was actually the top grossing mobile battle royale game in the US, beating out both PUBG and Call of Duty, which Garena is also the publisher for in Southeast Asia. My point here is that Garena's presence can be felt in the United States, not just overseas. That's because one important part of Garena is their focus on localization. There's nothing worse for digital media than grammatical errors, spelling errors, or imagery that doesn't jive with the audience. Whatever country they enter, they're serious about understanding the local language and culture and getting the most out of their potential user base. This is why huge game developers use Garena to publish their games in Southeast Asia. We're going to see this emphasis on localization in their other 2 business units, Shopee and SeaMoney, as well. Shopee started in 2015. Shopee is a social-first, digitally native e-commerce system, kind of comparable to Pinduoduo, ticker symbol PDD. Shopee sets up social structures of friends and lets users share their purchases. Then they use that additional data set of social interactions to promote other products within those groups. Another interesting feature of Shopee is called the Shopee Guarantee, which holds the customer's payment until they actually accept delivery of their order. That means the seller doesn't get any money until the buyer gets their stuff. My guess is this is because it's hard to find a package that gets lost or stolen in Southeast Asia, and it's probably hard to return an item if it's damaged or found to be a counterfeit. The Shopee Guarantee bypasses all of those challenges and protects the buyer. I like to think of Shopee as a smaller, mobile-first Amazon for the Southeast Asia region, again with an emphasis on localization. A customer's home screen is pretty dynamic, including hyper-localized campaigns, trending products, and daily flash sales. Unlike Amazon, though, these things also take into account that social element from what your friends are buying, reviewing, and recommending on the platform. I think this social-first mentality really sets Shopee apart from Amazon on the customer side. Also, Shopee has a wide variety of services and solutions integrated directly into the platform, from performance-based advertising and direct sales to helping with logistics, fulfillment, and online store operations. I'm bringing this up now for two reasons. One, to highlight all the ways that Shopee makes money today, but also to keep in mind for the crazy things that they're working on in the future. I'll get back to that in a minute. The last thing I want to point out about Shopee is that e-commerce was the largest and fastest growing market sector in Southeast Asia in 2019, so even before the pandemic. It was growing at a staggering 61% per year in the 5 years up to 2019, and is still projected to grow at 39% annually from 2015 through 2025. So this is a big market opportunity, and Shopee is a frontrunner to capitalize on it today. Today, Shopee is the biggest marketplace in Southeast Asia and is still growing at a very substantial rate. In a previous episode, I talked about how digitally native financial technology companies are able to serve the unbanked, while big banks cannot afford to. Big banks have high customer acquisition costs because of the large amount of physical buildings and infrastructure they need to maintain. Digital banks don't have this problem. If you want to learn more about the massive investing opportunities in Fintech, check out my episode on that. I'll link it in the top right-hand corner of your screen right now and in the description below as well. The reason I'm talking about that now is that 3 in 4 people in the Southeast Asia region have insufficient access to financial services. Literally almost half of them are completely unbanked. Sea's third business unit is called SeaMoney, which used to be called AirPay until a couple years ago. Here's where things start coming together. AirPay started in 2014 to make it easier for underbanked customers who wanted to make game purchases on the Garena platform. Sea built the solution themselves so they didn't have to pay commissions on these transactions, but now it's a serious piece of financial infrastructure. SeaMoney has e-wallets, payment processing solutions, micro-lending, and other digital financial services. The AirPay app has a dynamic home screen that's populated with a wide variety of services, including promotions for Garena and Shopee, as well as other third-party providers. One of the big draws of Square, ticker symbol SQ, is that it's a combination of two ecosystems, the merchant ecosystem with point-of-sale solutions and the customer ecosystem with Cash App. Well, this is also true for Sea, with a combination of Shopee and SeaMoney. In fact, all 3 of Sea business units share a wide variety of resources, including data centers and data science capabilities, so a win in any one of these areas affects all 3 businesses. Again, you can see the emphasis on localization across all 3 businesses, because when a customer feels like an app is built just for them, they tend to stick to it much longer. When Sea Limited expands into a new country and learns to localize for it, all 3 of these business units win. I also want to call out their deep relationship with Tencent here again, who makes use of all 3 of Sea's business units because this relationship is a real benefit if you like Tencent, and it's a real risk if you're still concerned about the continued Chinese regulatory crackdowns affecting these stocks. The reason that doesn't worry me is because Sea's business is focused outside of China, and business is booming. They just reported earnings in the middle of August, so now's a perfect time to cover their financials. Let's take a look at just how fast they're growing. Taken together, Sea had a whopping 159% revenue growth year over year. DE stands for Digital Entertainment, EC stands for E-commerce, and DFS stands for Digital Financial Services. So that's Garena, Shopee, and SeaMoney respectively. If we look at their growth individually, Garena's revenue grew by 167%. Shopee's revenue grew by 161%, and SeaMoney's revenue grew by a whopping 658%, from $11.7 million last year to $88.7 million today. These are the very early innings for SeaMoney. This is all very healthy growth, too. Garena's quarterly active users are up 45% year over year, and their quarterly paying users are up 85% year over year. I saw a lot of concerns in the comments of my deep dives on companies like DraftKings and Skills, focusing on the issues of these gaming companies spending tons of money to either acquire new customers or incentivize their existing customers to spend more money. Garena clearly doesn't have this issue because it's a distribution platform for some of the most popular games on the planet, including Free Fire, that they developed themselves. Shopee is also growing in very healthy ways. The total number of orders placed on Shopee is up by a whopping 127% year over year, while the gross merchandise volume, or the total amount of dollars spent, is up by 88%. Why the big difference? This is because Shopee is expanding into new markets, and when you have a lot of first-time buyers, they tend to make purchases with low dollar amounts. As these first-time customers turn into repeat customers, their average order value will keep going up. The bigger the difference between these two numbers, the more new customers Shopee probably acquired, which is a pretty bullish sign of their future exponential growth in this business unit. And SeaMoney is seeing the same type of growth as well. Total payment volume and number of quarterly paying users are both up triple digits from this time last year. As a result, Sea's leadership raised their guidance by about 5% for the second half of the year for both Garena and Shopee. The last thing I want to point out about this insane amount of growth is it's pretty standard for Sea. I bumped into this tweet by David Marlin that shows their year-over-year total revenue and gross profit growth over the last 5 quarters, and it's frankly pretty mind-blowing. In my opinion, these are the early innings for Sea, so I'm really surprised to see ARK Invest selling this stock at all. And speaking of which, here's one last thing I think ARK Invest doesn't see in Sea. Yet. Between Garena's games and digital currency, Shopee's e-commerce solutions, and SeaMoney's digital finance offerings, Sea could end up being a leader in the metaverse. Garena is doing the same thing that games like Fortnite and Roblox do, where they host digital events in online lobbies and lounges for people to hang out, listen to music, and play minigames. Also, earlier this year, Shopee rolled out the first virtual mall in coordination with IMM, which is Singapore's largest physical mall. The idea behind virtual malls today is that when physical malls are closed because of things like pandemics or natural disasters, you can still experience the mall online. People can log in and see product presentations, buy something, and have the mall ship it to their home. This even applies to food and drinks. You can go to a virtual cafe, hang out, and have that meal delivered to you in real life. And of course, SeaMoney can get hooked in to monetize online shopping in games or online gaming in shops however Sea wants to. I get it. The metaverse is probably still like a decade away. But these are the seeds being planted today with the blending of physical and virtual experiences. And Sea is planting these seeds in each one of their offerings. Comment below or tweet me at tickersymbol with your thoughts on Sea Limited. Do you think that they can continue to dominate the quickly growing digital markets of Southeast Asia? Or do you think I'm missing something and agree with Cathie Wood's decision to slowly sell ARK Invest shares in the company? My goal is not to always assume that I'm right. It's to become a better investor by sharing my research and my ideas with you. Until next time, this is tickersymbol. My name is Alex, reminding you that the best investment you can make is in you.